It's awful. It is awful. You have a test every 6 months on the cows, and then you sort of become blasé. Is a hypothetical threat, and then the vet looks up, and as he did yesterday lunchtime, and said, "I'm really sorry, this one's failed." So that means we're now locked down, and it's just dreadful, absolutely dreadful, because it's got a calf. It's had to be separated from its calf. It's pregnant with twins. And we've got to keep it in the barn now for 2 months, test it again, and then if it fails that, it'll have to be slaughtered.
Diddley Squat Farm has been struck down with bovine TB. The man who runs it, Jeremy Clarkson, says everyone is absolutely devastated. Well, the Sunday Times columnist and former Top Gear presenter joins us now. Jeremy, good morning. What has the last 24 hours been like for you and those around you?
It's awful. It is awful. You have a test every 6 months on the cows, and then you sort of become blasé. Is a hypothetical threat, and then the vet looks up, and as he did yesterday lunchtime, and said, "I'm really sorry, this one's failed." So that means we're now locked down, and it's just dreadful, absolutely dreadful, because it's got a calf. It's had to be separated from its calf. It's pregnant with twins, and we've got to keep it in the barn now for 2 months, test it again, and then if it fails that, it'll have to be slaughtered. And the real worry is that our bull has got it as well.
Your other animals, of course, will be affected by this. They'll be tested as time goes on. Just tell us about that.
Well, they will. No, all the cows have been tested. 2 of them are possibles, one's probable, by which I mean certain. You could tell in the vet's eyes that the poor thing's has definitely got it. But it's so, what's been hypothetical is now very real here, and nothing can come onto the farm and nothing can leave it. We're sort of paralysed.
The whole farm locked down then?
Well, in front, on the cow front, yeah.
Yeah.
There would be a miserable amount of wheat we're harvesting. We'd still shift that off the farm. But no, the cows, it's just so sad. I gave birth to that cow. But I mean, it's obviously we only have a very small herd here, but I've been looking into it, obviously, for the last 24 hours. And you read these stories about farmers who have literally spent their entire lives building up a herd, the perfect genetic herd, mating this bull with that cow to get just the right characteristics, and then bringing in new blood and what have you until they create this sort of perfection, and then find TB comes along and they have to slaughter the lot. That's a whole lifetime's work. Gone. Just gone. And I don't understand the legislation. I'm desperately trying to get my head around it. I don't understand. In England, most years around about 21,000 cows have to be culled because of TB. In Wales, it's 13,000, huge amount. But I think their laws are different. It seems to me that a cow only has to look a bit poorly and they'll come and put it down over there.
Did this just come out of the blue for you in regard to the infection on the farm?
Well, you do. I mean, honestly, the first time we tested, when we first got cows 5 years ago, when you have a test, and it's desperately nerve-wracking when you're analysing the results. But as is the way with everything, you become sort of immune to it. I tootled down to the field yesterday to do the test, just thinking, oh, here we go again, another TB test. And then you find you've got it.
What needs to be done to protect farmers? We know the badger cull has been stopped. Does that feel sensible to you?
It's an interesting one, that, because the cull here was pretty heavy and a lot of badgers went off to meet their maker. So you would imagine that with the numbers so low, TB would be halted. And yet it hasn't been. We're not alone. There's a number of farms around here that I'm hearing about who have got it. So that's an interesting thing. Now, you could say, okay, the badger cull stopped in October and everyone's now getting TB. That's because we're not culling badgers anymore. Or you could look at it the other way and say the numbers are low, so it should have cut the incidence of TB down, and it doesn't seem to have done that. So I'm struggling to get my head around that one, really, at the moment. It's only been, not even 24 hours since I found out. It occupies my mind. Well, it was occupying my mind, but I got up this morning and found one of my puppies has died. So,
I'm so sorry to hear that, Jeremy.
With that one as well. It was just, and we've got a very sickly calf. Honestly, farming, I'm not enjoying it this week. You're
having a very rough time, and many farmers like you are really feeling under the cosh. What do you think needs to change to make life better for farmers?
It'd be nice if the weather would behave itself for 5 minutes. Last year was the wettest it's ever been, and this year it's the driest it's ever been. And I'm talking to farmers who are getting 2 tons a hectare of wheat. 2 tons. We're getting 5, and they're jealous of us. And that's half what we should be expecting, and that's entirely weather-related. And then, of course, governments we have no one really in the British government who cares the slightest bit about farming and just seems to think that everybody's just, they're all rich and they've all got Range Rovers so they can pay, we can milk them. So the governments don't help. But I mean, this TB business, going back to that, I often wonder, because there's an entire government department set up to deal with it and address it. But I often think that government departments, their principal function is to exist. So they just have to invent new ways of making sure that they can not just exist, but get bigger and more powerful and more bossy. Because if you look at how you test an animal for TB, it's absurd. You inject it with you shove 2 needles into it, come back a few days later and see is the lump on the top bigger than the lump on the bottom. But you use these tweezers on a bucking cow, and it has to be to the millimetre. And you just think, is that for real? I mean, can you really be that accurate? We're shut down because Dilwyn the vet's brilliant, but honestly, when you watch him measuring these things, you think, but you've got to be accurate to the millimetre, and you can't be really. And then as often as not, I'm told, when they do a post-mortem on a cow that's allegedly got TB, they find it hasn't. So it's been culled for no reason.
How long is your farm going to be shut down for, Jeremy?
Well, certainly 2 months, because that's how long we have to wait before we do another test. But you hear, I was talking to the vet yesterday, he was on a farm earlier this week that's been shut down for 11 years.
Wow.
11 years they haven't been able to do anything because of TB.
So within that 2 months... within that 2 months...
Yeah, we've certainly got 2 months. We've got until the end of September.
And within that period, can people visit at that time, or do you have to say no to members of the public?
God, yeah, no, it's the farm shop's unaffected. It's only cows that get affected by it. Badgers are deer, but farm animals, it's just the cows. It doesn't really, it doesn't affect people. I mean, you can catch it, I suppose, if you went and licked an infected cow's nose, but that seems unlikely. But it's just the effect that TB has on the farming industry doesn't seem to be reflected in any way it's being addressed. I mean, I've been looking into, can you vaccinate cows? And apparently the reason you can't is because you can't tell a vaccinated cow from an infected cow. But you just think, well, you would, because you'd tag its ears. I mean, there's probably a better reason than that. And then they say, well, you can inoculate badgers. But I mean, that's not realistic.
You've talked a lot there, Jeremy, about the fact that the government doesn't really seem to get it, in your view. I just wonder, is Keir Starmer still barred from your pub?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, I hate very few people in life, but I do hate that man. He's awful. No, he's definitely banned. He's just so flippant about farmers. Whenever you ask him, it's just like, well, who cares about them? And that's one of the things I really dislike. And then I watched him with Trump, trying to argue, well, we haven't really taxed them. Well, you have, But again, I would dearly love to talk to people at DEFRA, and hopefully will do, saying, this TB business, is there not a better way to address this, really? Because the thing is, you can actually eat the meat from an infected cow. In fact, you probably did yesterday. A cold cow can go into the food chain. So it's got TB, and you can go, and it can still end up a supermarket shelf or a butcher's shop.
Yeah. Clarkson's farm, of course, Jeremy, has been a hugely important and popular series. You rose to prominence, of course, on Top Gear, and those episodes are now being played in their old slot on the BBC once again. What do you make of that? Do you care?
No, I mean, it's lovely, actually. Sunday nights without Top Gear feel a bit weird, so no, it's nice to see them coming back, actually. I'm delighted.
Do you watch them? Is it a trip down memory lane, perhaps?
Do you know, the funny thing was, last Sunday I was wandering through the sitting room and it was on. And I did pause for a few minutes. Did watch, I can't remember what it was now. Can't have been that brilliant. But anyway, I did watch it. And yeah, no, it was quite nostalgic. I rather
You proud of
enjoyed
them?
it. Yeah, I think there were some pretty good shows in there. There were some pretty terrible ones as well, but there were some good ones.
Jeremy, we wish you well, and I'm sorry to hear the news and what's happened on your farm and about your puppy as well. It's just been a dreadful few days for you, but I hope things get better.
Trust me, there are things you don't know that makes it even worse. But anyway, we shall plough on. See if we can get some harvesting done today. Cheer us up.
Thank you very much indeed.